Well, this is the 1 minute time frame for Bitcoin, as this is the 27th of August 2018. It broke out of the 67 high change, 6760, and three decent sized greens, a pause, another big green, and a further top. Just a few minutes, making it to 69 and change. So a 200-point gain, which is about 3%, doing so relatively quickly. When we look at this on the 15-minute chart, there's no surprise to have very good volume when you're looking at a size magnitude to this. So it's either going to be a real rally or it's going to be one of those failed breakouts. Time, of course, can only tell amongst such. Let's take a look at this on a single-hour time frame. There we can see many hits, well, three mainly, in around 6760, doing so on the 24th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time area, so at the end of the 24th day. And then doing so in the evening of the next day on the 25th. That would take us back to Saturday, 27th, this morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and then pulling back to this 18, which is held the entire time. When we look at support at the 18 of lows, once, twice, three times, and even again here at 4. But when it breaks that key level, it just has a good gain. That's really what it does. Amongst the 3 hour, it's now back to this previous level of resistance. So here's that test. How are we going to stand here if we pull back? Likely support. Well, what was that neckline area? About 6,700 and change. So within this time frame, if it's going to stop going higher, this is where I'd be looking for successful support to be. Meaning, if it goes down there and it ain't successful, we're looking at the probabilities of a failed breakout. Oftentimes, from a failed move higher, is a fast move opposite direction, oftentimes. For this was a failed breakout back on the 21st, but it found support at the key support level, thus there was no failed move that went thereafter. Okay. Daily term time frame. See, after a couple days, like I see with this AT, this is why this is my favorite indicator. Ever since I just started using it for the first time, I figured, hey, why not I try using the highs and the lows? And then this came up, it was like, man, this is cool. So I've been using it ever since, and I've been using it now for about 7 or 8 years. However, the move had many days there looking to be breaking free from the newly rising. And if we're not going to resist here, I would expect a decent leg higher from here. So we're looking at about 70, well, maybe up to this level here, in this early 7,000, 72 to 73. If it's going to have a break above the resistance, meaning I would be very shocked if it has a leg higher, like 71, 72, and that would be it. Although that's not too big of a surprise, I would suppose, but 3-day term time frame. And there's been so many spots on here in which looked really bad for the possibility of a break of 6,000 and this thing to head lower. Now here wasn't so bad, but it was in play. Right down in here as it was breaking down below this level of support. But there was no scary resistance from this point on. Although it did make this lower high in itself, that was not good news. For weakness was shown in here, like, oh man, it's not correcting well. Oh, small leg lower, resisting it, and then breaking down below. Ever since here, when this happened, huge alert that this thing is ready to break for a big decline, yet it never did such. And then yet another lower high. And then we're looking at support here at the 18. Oh, not found. Yikes. dangerous situation. But as it was breaking down towards here, it didn't go down any further. And now we're still in the midst of the correctionary phase. So it says it didn't break down. Stage 1, band flatten out. Stage 2, establish resistance. Stage 3, come back to the band. Its whole point of that is to have a correction after making a statement move. And it's had a very decent correction, but it again has been holding amongst the 6K mark. And that is very important. But if this thing is unable to go much higher and break out from here and even get to the decent 7th, like close to 8,000, to 8,000 even, then this is going to be resisting this band. So as I see it, the 18 average of lows is in at 6,500 and change. Therefore, if I see any kind of weakness at around the 6,500 number, then that's going to give yet another of many scary situations that the 6K level is going to be breached, and a move most likely to the price target of 3,000. But that's something to talk about if, of course, it comes down to 65 and it fails to support within that area. And let's now head back to the 1 minute just to see what's been going on within a correctionary phase. Markets can correct either through that of price or through time. So very short term, if you are looking at this, you can see it going sideways of volume. Look at how it's been reduced significantly. The volume has the biggest move in here, then it has a decent size one here, decent size one amongst the top, the original pullback. Well, that's where the volume has been light. So the trading has been doing not so much. If you start to see volume pulling in with these situations like this, especially as it's starting to move again higher, then it's pretty safe to say that there's a very high probability odds likelihood of that leg happening in the next 2, 3, 4 minutes. And just because it's corrected through time doesn't mean it still can't correct further through price. As mentioned, what I want to see, and I guess we're using the hourly time frame. Yeah, see this level here around 67. So that 65 is more of a longer term level, but short term, 6,750. I'm okay with it coming down to that on a bullish level. In fact, one betting strategy, like everything you do is your own risk, own reward. That's why I say that all the time. But one strategy is, oh, you see this breakout. Okay, buy order in, let's just say 67.77 or 68.01. Let's buy it back to where it came from. Maybe if you're putting a stop, you put a stop underneath, either a tight stop underneath 66.52. Definitely a lot of people would be looking at, if you're playing the stop loss game, this key low here, having it below that, somewhere around 65.35, as a strategy, making the wager saying this is coming back to where it came from, thus not having a failed breakout situation come into place. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.